Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thank you once again for joining us on Talk and Fight for another episode of Knuckle Up with Mike Orr at 4, to be joined shortly by our favorite Cedric Ben. Whoa, like magic.
Right. Asking ye shall receive.
Right. Except he seems to be in the ether right now.
Yeah.
All right. So after that fantastic introduction by yours truly, I'm going to leave the rest of the show in your hands because we're trying to get hold of our favorite guest artist out of New Zealand.
Yes, we're trying to get a hold of Mea Motu,
who apparently is now undefeated in what? Is she 4-0 now?
4? No, man, way more than that, brother.
14?
More than that. No. I believe it's 9.
Oh, 9?
I believe it's 9. It's either 8 or 9. 8-0 with 4 KOs.
Yeah, she's doing great. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, yeah, man. She's she just whipped some butt, actually, man. She fought Michaela Jenkins on the weekend for the vacant New Zealand Professional Boxing Commission female super light title. And she took that by unanimous decision, 8 rounds, 2 minutes. She's also scheduled for August, September, and November. So she's already scheduled for 3 more fights this year. So she's making quick work of running up these divisions here, man. She's kicking butt.
Are they all New Zealand fighters?
Yes, they're all New Zealand. Hopefully we get to see her on the international stage soon, because realistically she's running out of opponents in the super feather division over there in New Zealand to fight. She fought Michaela Jenkins twice. She's fought Aisha Abid twice. She's fought she's fought a few of these girls. More than once, man.
And she's going to fight Cedric Ben if he doesn't get online pretty soon.
Oh, there he is. Right? Like Cedric, get to it. It's okay.
It's kind of hard for me to see without my shades on. I'm going to wear them. Is this angle? Is there too much light?
No, it's good. Okay. It's good, brother. It's good. Yeah, man. You look good as always, brother.
I'm trying. It's gonna be squinting a lot.
Ray's joined us here from Last Bell Boxing. What up, Ray? Thanks for tuning in.
How you doing, Ray? Thanks, Ray. What up?
Yeah, we're supposed to have Mea Motu in here, but she hasn't arrived yet. So I don't know what to do other than maybe we should talk. Maybe we should talk about the fight tonight.
The card tonight, exactly. I just realized too. I was just reminded. Javier Fortuna is fighting Diaz Jr. Is that the undercard of Barrera and Ramirez?
I believe so. I'm checking the card right now. We'll take a look at it.
It's July 19th.
Yeah, everything's scheduled up. I'm sure. So we got Friday. We're looking at Gilberto Ramirez. So who were you asking about?
If she was.
Yes.
Asking if
yeah. What fight did you want? What would you want to know? Who's on the undercard?
Fortuna and Diaz Jr.
Fortuna, yes. Fortuna and Joseph Diaz is the co-main for the WBC interim world light title.
Okay. That should be a good fight. Fortuna is always in a good fight.
Yes, another big fight on that card, which I can't wait to see, is Senicia Estrada is making her presence in the ring for the WBO World Female Light Fly title. She's 20-0 right now, and she's fighting Tenkai Tsunami.
She better come with a tsunami against Estrada, because Estrada is a very good boxer.
No, exactly. Estrada's no joke.
Seriously, she's she's small, but she packs a serious punch. She's always coming to fight, and she's always in good, exciting fights. That Estrada, yeah, very exciting. When is she fighting? Sorry.
She's tonight. That card's tonight, man.
Wow, she's on that undercard too. Wow. Nice.
Ray, thank you. I know my pronunciation is wonderful.
There you go, Ray. Join in if you want.
Ray, jump on, brother. Jump on. Let's talk.
Jump in, Ray.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about this card tonight.
You know what's funny though, Mike? Speaking of last bell, when
Yeah.
you were on a show a while back, you were talking about an Australian fighter, and I can't remember who, but you had made the comment that there's only so many fighters in Australia. So it's funny that you made the same comment about Mea Motu. She's only got so many fighters in New Zealand.
Exactly, and that's what she said before in a couple of the interviews that we've had with her. You know, they have to travel, man. They have to get off. They gotta get off the rock, and they gotta start making their way overseas to get a lot of these fights, man. Because there's the talent pool is shallow there. There's not too many people in that division where you see a lot of women actually end up fighting each other more than once. So it's unfortunate, but it just means we're going to see her on the international stage a little sooner than later, right?
Yeah.
What more is there for Mea to accomplish other than she's already wearing the belt in New Zealand? What's she going to do? Go over to Australia, take that one too?
Yeah. My guess is depends how much money she's making.
Exactly.
And if she was online right now, she could tell us how much she is or isn't making. Yeah. Which seems to be the issue. It'd be interesting to see if Tim joins us again on the panel, because that's the issue he wants to bring to the forefront of the boxing industry. Not just the purses themselves, but the split when it comes down to your post-boxing career. Right. Whether there's any money set aside for pensions and or benefits. He's got a great point, and he's got a great story. And having had that long fight with Don King over his career, I'm really looking forward to hearing what he has to say.
Yeah, me too. Oh, it looks like we lost Cedric there for a minute. seems like he disappeared really quickly.
Yeah, went to get another drink. Looked to me like he was on a patio.
Yeah, probably he's on a patio. It doesn't look like our guest is showing up. That's unfortunate. Maybe she's run into some issues. I know in New Zealand right now it's only 8:00 in the morning over there, right? So
yeah, she's got 5 kids running around right now.
She has 5 children. Ray, what's up, brother? Ray, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Yo, what's?
Thank you for coming on and joining us, all the way from the UK. Our brother Ray from Last Bell Boxing.
Who's gonna pretend to be Mea Motu?
Oh, it looks like he froze.
So how is it in New Zealand these days?
Oh, it looks like he froze. Man, we can't catch a break today, can we?
No, man, it's incredible.
I know, it is incredible, very incredible.
And there he goes. He's back. He's gone. And he's back.
And he's back. Is he working?
Is he working? Is he live?
There we go. We got you. Ray, what's going on, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you two? Good.
No, not bad, man. Not bad. We were supposed to have Mea on. Unfortunately, she was unable to make it. It's really early in New Zealand. So we're talking about the Ramirez and that card tonight. And Ramirez and Barrera card. What are you thinking on it?
I think this is going to be a great fight. I really, really like Ramirez. I think he's a talent. I think he's just been unfortunate, time out the ring and stuff. But I think this could be what I mean by coming out party is I think if he gets an impressive win here against this quite credible name still in light heavyweight division, I think it just puts him. When you talk about a lot of these guys at light heavyweight, a lot of people are missing Ramirez's name out.
Yeah.
For various different reasons. His name should be up there, should have that caliber up there. He's got it all. He really has. And I still want to see that fight between him and Benavidez somewhere later down the line.
Oh my God. That'll be a great fight. We talked about this yesterday. Him and Benavidez, it has to happen. You need to have you have to have the two princes fight to see who's going to fight the king.
Who's going to fight the king? Exactly. And I think Ramirez, if he makes a statement tonight, I think he's got a great argument to demand that fight in Mexico.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. It's a big card, man. I'm very stoked for this card.
Yeah.
There's some big names on here, and I can't wait to see Estrada versus Tsunami for the WBO World Female Light. That's going to be good. Diaz and Fortuna, that's going to be another big one for the WBC Interim World Light.
Yeah.
Because Fortuna and Diaz Jr., they're both not going to take a step backwards. As I said, Fortuna's always in exciting fights. So is Diaz. If Fortuna spoke English and did more interviews, he'd be a lot more popular. Just because. No, but seriously though, if he did, that's why like people like Canelo and Lomachenko eventually they learned to speak English so they could do more interviews, and I think that's kind of helped them with their popularity. But
definitely.
Because I mean these guys have got the skills and they can fight, but it's almost mandatory now if you want to be a big star and maximize your earning potential. You've got to learn English language because that's the language spoken in the Western world essentially. In the massive market that is North America. Let's be honest about it. So if you want to make it big there, you've got to learn to. I mean, you could get away with speaking Spanish to a point, but you've got to learn English. It sounds bad. I feel bad for saying it, but it's unfortunately it is what it is.
It's the truth, man. It's the truth.
Yeah.
And without being able to speak English, you can't really market yourself properly, man.
That's true. That's true.
You got to market yourself to the masses. You got to get yourself out there. This is a day where social media. You got to have a hold of that, and that's where you self promote, man. And if you ain't speaking English, then you ain't touching the markets, man.
Exactly.
And that's it, right?
Exactly. But this is going to be a great fight. I think Diaz should do well at this weight. Being in super featherweight, and stepping up, I think he should do really well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's got.
Definitely, me too. That's for the WBC Interim World Light. Fortuna, he's 36-2-1, I believe it is, and Diaz is 31-1-1, I think. So these guys both kind of gone the same path. They kind of, they're at the same point right now in their career, and this fight needs to happen. And man, I believe Diaz is going to come through with that win.
Yeah, I mean, Fortuna's got some good names on his record. But I just there's something about Diaz I've always liked since he was at the Olympics.
Yeah.
And I've just always liked that. I thought he was unlucky when he fought Farmer. He's got some real quality about him. But look, he's obviously bounced back in his career since he had that defeat. It was Gary Russell, wasn't it? Sorry. But he beat Farmer for the title. But when he got beat off Gary Russell, I thought he was unlucky. Because Gary Russell's on a different level. Problem with Gary Russell is he's not active enough. But I think Diaz is got bundles of ability. Like I said, I've seen it in the Olympics, and I've seen it every time he's stepped in the ring. Really, it's just discipline that's let him down.
Mm-hmm. You think it goes the distance?
You're talking about two punches in there, essentially.
I know. Because
So it's. I don't know. I think I'm going to go for Diaz stoppage late.
Yeah, late rounds. I'm thinking probably eighth round.
Yeah, I'll probably say 10. Say 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good one. That's for damn sure. We also have Hector Tanajara versus William Zeppedia for the vacant WBA Continental America's Light title tonight too. That's gearing up to be pretty good, man. We got Hector's 19-0, and we got William at 22-0. So we got some two undefeated guys about to step in the ring, go toe to toe, and bash it out. Just like I like to see.
You like your unbeaten fighters, don't you?
I love my unbeatens, man. I love them.
Yeah.
Because you know what? They try extra hard to keep that record, man. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think this one will be interesting for us Brits because we've never seen these guys before.
Right.
I've never seen these guys before, so this is going to be real interesting because this is either going to be, like you're saying, an explosive fight, or this is going to be a fight where we're going to see whether or not the records are padded.
Right.
Now, bearing in mind, I've never seen these guys before. So what you can often have with people that have got long unbeaten records is they probably never fought anybody to test them. So when you put them against a guy that's equally as hungry, you know, you're either going to see whether these guys are going to sink or swim. Exactly. You see what I mean?
Exactly.
So from that point of view, this is going to be really, really interesting. It's going to be to see actually who's got the skill set to go above this level and push on to actually being a viable contender. So that's what I'm going to be looking forward to in this fight.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. I love these undefeateds, man. I love seeing these guys. You know, they got these big records. Yes, they've had a bunch of, you know, I guess floozy fights, you know, stepping stone fights.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't fought these nobodies, but then you know what? Eventually they gotta go toe to toe with somebody who's just like them. You know?
Exactly.
20 fights under the belts, undefeated, hungry, ready to make, you know, the move into the international competition, you know, ready to make some big, you know, hit some big fights, get some big names. And we're going to see these two guys, you know, step in and try and make their mark, man, so they can make that move. And you know what? That always makes for such an exciting card. I'm excited to see it.
It does for the fans as well. So
yes,
it's going to be exciting.
Graham, what do you think, Graham?
You know what I'm thinking? This is what I'm thinking. Because Ray made an interesting comment about you know, not knowing these boxers, in particular the caliber of boxers that are simply unavailable on broadcast networks in Britain. So we're pretty well familiar with the Americans. We're pretty well familiar with the British, but we're not that familiar with the Mexicans. And Mike and Neil have been doing a great job of digging underneath, if you will, and finding some of these great Mexican fighters. So I am curious to see more of these types of fights where we begin to let the cream rise to the top, because I think boxing is actually rebounding. It's done a great job. As we've all agreed, Eddie Hearn has done a great job himself. I really like that guy. You know, and some of the American promoters have really stepped up their game as well. But Mike and I were discussing this maybe last week. You don't really hear much about the Mexican promoters or the Mexican managers, but we certainly hear about their fighters. We don't see much of them, but we certainly hear a lot about them. So I am curious to see how in the next year, let's say the next year, they go toe to toe. Like we've often heard how the Philippines is a powerhouse, but we only see maybe one or two or three of their fighters. We've just mentioned Australia and New Zealand, who bring up great fighters, but by the handful, not by the dozens. You know, so it'll be interesting to see as these language barriers are transcended, how the Mexicans are perceived on the global level once they begin to enter their fighters into the global scene of boxing.
Well,
so that's what I was thinking.
In terms of the Mexican fighters, I mean, they're already making waves in the UK because the Mexicans and South Americans are turning over fighters that are expected to lose to our guys, and they're turning over our guys. So you've got people like Lara, who beat Josh Warrington. Lewis Ritson got beat off the Argentine boy, Jeremias Ponce. We had Robbie Davis Jr. Beaten by Galon Valenzuela. So there are some Mexicans that come over and South Americans. The very famous one was a Colombian who beat Amir Khan, Bradis Prescott. They come in and they have records and they look like punchers, and you think, but they haven't fought anyone. They come over here and they prove to be just as capable. Right. I hear what Graham's saying. Their promotional outfits are really small, and you know, you don't often know of the management team. Right. But because of the way the rankings work and the way the rankings have, when you realize that the WBA, the WBC, WBO have all these diamond belts and interim belts, it's to give those guys a chance because they don't have the Eddie Hearns and the Bob Arums of this world to cough up money to get these guys straight up world title fights. So what they do is they create all these South American Intercontinental Championship belts for the WBA. They win that and it gets them the rankings. And then people are like, well, that's a nothing belt. Pretty much just like I've said about these two guys. I mean, I don't know these guys. I'm being honest with you. You know me, I wouldn't say it otherwise, but that doesn't mean one of them or both of them can't fight. But it's going to be really interesting to see because are they going to be what I call best kept secrets? Right. Are they going to be those fighters that are under the radar And then when the spotlight hits them, they perform under the lights. You think, wow, where's this fighter been?
Yeah.
A bit like when the UK market was first introduced to Golovkin. We were like, where's he been? He's been in Germany fighting on shows, and then he's been in Kazakhstan, and we got to see him in Germany before he went to America, and we were like, wow, where's this guy been? So that's a good thing about watching these type of cards, where you don't always know some of the fighters. I'm looking for that guy who I think I want to remember his name or her name, and follow their career. So that's what I like about these cards.
Yeah, no, honestly, Ray, you took the words right out of my mouth, man. That's why I love watching these cards. This is where you find those young up and comers that are going to make their mark. They're going to make their mark on the sport in their division. You don't hear a lot about them, like Ramirez. First of all, 41 fights, 41-0. He's only fought twice in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Right? He hasn't had a lot of fights. 2018 was a busy year for him, but other than that, no, he's twice. He hasn't been around a lot. A lot of people don't know him. A lot of people are sleeping on him, But this guy, if you think about it, he's a Mexican who's a light heavy, who's 6'2.5" southpaw with a 75-inch reach. When do you ever see that? When do you ever see that?
You don't. When the Mexicans, they're really well known in the lighter weights.
Yeah,
you might see them get as heavy as light welter, maybe the odd guy at like middleweight. That's about it. They rarely venture upwards than that. So when you do get a Mexican in the higher weight divisions, you want to take notice, because you want to think this kid can fight, and they're starting to produce a couple of ones, and Ramirez is definitely one of those. And you would think somebody with the record he's got in terms of the 41 and all that, he's probably be better known across the States, even across my place in the UK. But he's not, apart from us sort of hardcore fans. But I think that'll change. I've got enough confidence and ability to recognise that'll change, and hopefully it starts from tonight's card.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it will change. I think tonight is going to be one of those fights where he's going to be able to make himself known.
Yeah.
It's about time that he's been on a card that has some names on it, and I think he's going to come through with the victory in timely fashion. I don't think it's going to go the distance. He's got some heavy hands. He's a big boy, and I think this is going to be the card that is literally going to get him noticed, and it's about time.
Yeah, and it'll be the opponent as well. I think this opponent's the right opponent for him. Barrera he's had a great career. I remember when he fought Bivol, and Bivol looked sensational that night. But Barrera's still he would give a lot of people in that division trouble. I wouldn't say he's washed up. I wouldn't say he's finished, because aside from what I call sort of like the big four in the division, the Beterbiev, Bivol, Joe Smith Jr., and Ramirez, I still think he can cause some people a lot of problems. There's quite a few in light heavy, because most of the guys up there can punch. The likes of Callum Johnson in the UK, add him to that mix as well. Joshua Boati, he's got quite a good skill set on him as well. But Barrera can, he's still operating at a good level. He's still a good operator, so he's a good name on his record. And I believe he'll get the win inside the distance. And I think just having that name is announcing that he's back.
Yeah, definitely. Cedric, care to chime in?
Yeah, going back to first of all, I agree. Barrera, I think he'll put up a good fight. I can't remember how. I know he lost to Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev when Kovalev was still the crusher, but I believe he still put up good fights in those ones too. So he always puts up a good fight. So that's what I'm expecting. I don't think it's going to be as easy. I don't think Ramirez is just going to run over him. I think even if he does stop him, I think he'll have to work for it. So we'll see what goes there. But going back to what we were saying about knowing who these guys are, at the same time, with social media, it's a little bit more on these guys to be able to promote themselves. Like if you're a professional boxer, you should have every single social media possible and be posting stuff, at least weekly, just to get your name out there. So if you're not actively fighting, then your name is still actively out there, whether it's training or just people seeing you, visually seeing you. So it's on them. It's on them also. These old promoters are lazy. Don't wanna do the extra work.
Yeah.
So
That's right. Graham,
so
what do you think
About what?
about all of it? Everything we talked about. What are you thinking there?
Well, I think this is the modern era of boxing, quite frankly. It's progressed over the years. These fighters aren't controlled by egotistical managers anymore. I mean, yes, those kinds of managers still do exist, but the fortunes of the fighters rests in their own hands, literally, not only in the ring, but outside the ring. And I agree 100%. I mean, the ability now for even companies like ours to be able to live stream boxing events puts money back into the hands of young and up-and-coming hungry boxers. Whether they're located in America or Britain or elsewhere in the world, there are companies like ours, and I'm sure you guys out at Last Bell have the exact same thing in mind. I mean, this whole technological revolution that we're experiencing right now, from the social media aspect to the live streaming aspect of their fights, and if you put it in a pay-per-view level, 1,000 viewers paying $10, that's $10,000 that they would not normally have. I mean, I remember a discussion you guys on Last Bell were having whether they should have the event down in London or up in Nottingham. And there was a difference between, say, 2,000 people appearing at this venue in London versus this incredibly raucous crowd that you'd have in Nottingham. And, although you don't get that live streaming, is the money more important? This is a balance there. I understand there's a balance there, but this is what we're facing, and this is what the fighters are facing. The ability to control their own career from a financial perspective now. It rests in their hands.
Yeah.
So I agree with Cedric and all you guys. I think they should be out there pumping themselves. The girls do a fantastic job.
Oh my God, yeah.
My Twitter feed is fantastically filled with the wonderful job that the good ladies are doing. And maybe it's because I'm not following some of the men who have, but they're doing a great job of promoting themselves. They really are. Fantastic job.
Honestly, I think the men need to literally take, sit back and take some notes from the women with their social media and how they're promoting themselves, man. And it's really, they're killing it right now, man. They're killing it. The women are putting themselves out there. They're making people, tune in and watch their fights. And, they're exciting. They don't care about the politics. They'll fight anybody. The men need to start acting like this. They need to do the same thing. Not worry about the politics. Take the damn fights and start promoting themselves so they get known.
100%. I mean, look at Ebony Bridges. I mean, she's only had, well, now she's had 6 fights, but when she had the world title fight, she had 5.
Yeah.
Who do you know? Lomachenko aside, who do you know that gets 5 fights before a world title fight? That's not even the best. I mean, if you look at the rankings coming out of Australia, she's the 2nd or 3rd best at her weight in her country.
Yeah.
Yet, why was it that she, with far less experience, because she didn't have much of an amateur pedigree behind her, how does she get that fight with Shannon Courtney? And it just goes to show, because she's more marketable, she sells a lot, and she's controversial, with her whole way and outfits and all that kind of stuff. So when we spoke to her, that was one of the things she was keen to put across. But it was interesting that her point of view was she doesn't believe that women should be wanting to or should be getting the same pay as men, which I thought was quite interesting, because she's saying a lot of men don't get the same pay, so why should we demand that all women should get the same pay as men, which is a very interesting point, because it's true. So Canelo, his pay is not the same as Ramirez, who we've just been talking about. It doesn't work like that in boxing. So it's interesting, because are the women pushing themselves more because they're getting less than a woman who's got 2 unified world champion at 140 or like Jessica McCaskill at welterweight, she'll not get the same money as Errol Spence or Terence Crawford. So it's interesting, but the point is they all have to push each other. Canelo still has to push himself on social media. So will Jessica McCaskill. So will Katie Taylor. So will Chantel Cameron. So will Anthony Joshua still have to push himself on social media. Because at the minute, everyone's talking about Fury Wilder. So Joshua needs to make himself relevant again, and that's how you do it. That's what Cedric's saying, and I completely agree with what he's saying. You've got to make yourself relevant, because in this sport, like Ramirez, you haven't fought for so long, you're forgotten about. People move on.
Yeah, fully. Well, you know what, guys? That being said, we're coming up on the time here, man, for the show to be over. It went fast. That 30 minutes just flew by.
Mm-hmm.
Ray, I'm gonna extend the come and join us at 7, brother, if you can. We'll be on the panel tonight. Definitely want to extend the invitation to that. So definitely join us, Cedric, if you can make it too. I know you're a busy man. Sitting on that patio catching some rays, brother.
Literally.
Do my best.
Literally catching rays. But that being said, guys, thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for having me on, man. Thank you, guys.
Definitely.
Good talk.
Cheers. Make it for 7. Fight fans watching, jab that like, click subscribe, knock us out those comments. You know what it is. Knuckle up. Your boy Mike Gore.